All right, sorry for the delay, a few procedural matters that we were dealing with. I will call the January 9, 2025 meeting of the Elkhart City Board of Zoning Appeals to order. Few comments in addition, meeting procedures. As been our procedures going on for some time now, video comments will be taken only on WebEx. There are no Facebook comments. You can watch and listen, but you cannot comment. If you're on video, please mute your mic when you're not speaking. Otherwise, we might hear stuff we don't want to hear. Please speak up and identify yourself on WebEx before you begin to speak so that we can have a clear and accurate record. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to review and consider all requests for relief from any standard in a zoning ordinance, including variances, use variances, special exceptions, conditional use requests, and administrative appeals. All of the cases heard tonight will have a positive, negative, or no decision made by the board. If no decision is made, the petition will be set for another hearing. If a decision is made that you disagree with, either as the petitioner or an interested party, you must file for an appeal of the board's decision no later than 30 days after the decision is made in an appropriate court. If you think you may potentially want to appeal a decision of this board, you must give this board a written appearance before the hearing. If you are here in person, a sign-up sheet is provided which will act as an appearance. You should sign the sheet if you want to speak, but also if you do not wish to speak but might want to appeal a decision, you need to also sign in. The sign-up sheet is right there on the podium. If you're appearing by WebEx, please put your name and address in the comments section. A written petition that is set for hearing tonight satisfies the requirement for the petitioner. If you file your appeal later than 30 days after the decision of this board or give no written appearance tonight, you may not appeal the board's decision. Because the rules on appeal are statutory and specific on what you can do, the board highly suggests you seek legal advice. If you are the petitioner, in addition to filing an appeal, you may first file a motion for rehearing within 14 days of the board's decision. When you're here, make sure you speak directly into the mic, get up close and personal with the mic, make sure we can hear you. Tonight we have what's called a minimum quorum. There are 3 of us up here. We can conduct business, but with 3 members, all votes must be unanimous. Anything less than the unanimous vote will be considered no action, and the case will be reset for next month. With respect to the public comment portion of the meeting, public comments will be taken only on the specific petition being heard before the board. Unlike city council meetings where there is time for anyone to comment on any issues, we do not have that here before the Board of Zoning Appeals, and comments will only be taken for or against the specific petition board. This time I would call for the roll call vote.
Bonjarikoff.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
Mulvaney.
Here. All right, first item of business was supposed to be the 2025 election of officers. We do not have our full board here, so what we will do is we will continue with the existing officers, and at next month's meeting in February, we will elect new officers for the board. Mr. Trotter.
Be appropriate if we actually made a motion and voted on so we have a slate of officers for this evening.
For the current
meeting.
Okay.
And then we will do it again next month when everyone's in attendance.
I move that we have Doug Mulvaney as president, Janet Evanja as
Secretary.
Yeah, I'm going to be secretary and you're going to be vice president.
Right.
Okay. All right.
That'd be Rob Davis. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, we have temporary officers for tonight's meeting. Next item of business is to approve the agenda. Has everybody had a chance to review the agenda? The one item that was tabled is 25 BZA 03. That was tabled before the meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The agenda is approved. Have you had a chance to review the minutes for the November 2024 meeting?
Yep.
Yes.
Hey, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Proofs of publication. You've been provided with the proofs of publication. Do I hear a motion to approve the proofs of publication?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The proofs of publication are approved. There is no old business, so we'll jump right into new business. 25 BZA 02.
The petitioner is Indiana Michigan Power. The site location is 3340 Toledo Road. The request is to vary from the requirements found in section 18.2 II, which state outside storage of liquids or gases in one or more tanks where the total volume of the tanks does not exceed 2,000 gallons, to allow for an above-ground 8,000-gallon fuel tank for diesel and gas storage, a variance of 6,000 gallons.
Good evening, I'm Mona Livingston.
Need to
and-
pull it down a little further. There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is it better?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, I'm Mona Livingston and I am with Indiana Michigan Power and I'm here to present our request for the variance. So currently we have 2 underground tanks, 8,000 gallons each, one for gas and one for diesel. And we would like to replace and put an above ground tank because that is more environmentally friendly. It will avoid unknowingly contaminating soil or groundwater systems because of leakage that we may not be able to detect in an underground tank. And that is what the EPA recommends, that we put above ground tanks moving forward. That is the gist of the variance that we are requesting. I do have pictures of what an 8,000 gallon tank looks like that we have put at other service centers. If the
Think
no,
it's-
I brought them in because I thought it might be helpful. So I have copies if you want to look at them. And the above ground, I want to add that the above ground tank is fire resistant up to 3 hours before it implodes because it has a concrete barrier, and it is going to be the concrete barrier is inside the tank, and it is going to be a dual tank. So half the tank would be, or not half, but 5,000 of it would be used for diesel, and 3,000 of it would be used for gas, which is ultimately used by our fleet vehicles to fill up before they go out.
You answered my question. Is it going to contain both diesel and gas? And the answer is yes. Any questions from the board?
Right. So you may not know this, but if you take those tanks out of the ground, if there's a problem, will you be doing remediation?
Yes. So we will be checking the soil samples throughout the location where the underground tanks are right now, and if there has been any contamination, we will take necessary steps to remove that contamination, send it to the contamination fill where it's, I don't know the exact location or what it's called, but then replace it with fresh, clean soil. So we will do the remediation, complete remediation, and then we'll test it again after we put in the fresh soil to make sure there is no contamination.
Were there any
State permits required?
state permits? Was there any?
Good question, and I'm going to defer this to our team members who are online. So Josh or Roger or Dana Booth, are there any state permits required to do this work, and have you obtained them if so?
Hello, my name is Dana Booth. I can speak onto that a little bit. The only thing I would have to say is we would be following all state and EPA guidelines for the removal of the tanks before the AST or above ground storage tank system goes into place.
I'm sorry, can you turn on your camera, please?
Oh, yeah. Can you see me?
Yep.
Okay, I apologize.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, I'm good.
Thank you. All right, at this time, I'll open the public meeting. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the petition, either in person or on WebEx? Anyone here in person or WebEx who wishes to speak in opposition to the petition? Hearing no comments, seeing no comments, I'll close the public meeting and I'll call staff forward for the staff report.
Indiana Michigan Power is requesting a developmental variance so they can replace two 8,000-gallon underground fuel tanks with one 8,000-gallon above-ground tank. The ordinance standard limits the size of a storage tank to 2,000 gallons, therefore the need for the developmental variance. The petitioner states in documents submitted for the variance, the new tank will incorporate an above-ground UL 2085 fire shield tank with concrete barrier. An example of the UL 2085 tank staff found online is shown below in the staff report. Staff has reviewed the findings submitted by the petitioner and support the request. The older underground tanks will be removed and replaced with a new, more environmentally safe above-ground tank. The location of the tank is west of the building centered on the site. Therefore, the staff recommends approval of the developmental variance to vary from section 18.2 II, which states outside storage of liquids or gases in one or more tanks where the total volume of the tanks does not exceed 2,000 gallons to allow for an above-ground 8,000-gallon fuel tank for diesel and gas storage. A variance of 6,000 gallons based on the following findings of fact. Number one, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community because the new tank will meet all necessary regulations for installation. Number two, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner because the tanks like this are not uncommon and are often found in association with industrial uses. Number three, granting the variance would be consistent with the intent and purpose of this ordinance because a measure of relief is allowed when warranted. Number four, special conditions and circumstances do exist which are peculiar to the land involved and which are not applicable to other lands or structures in the same district because without board action, the installation of the new above-ground tank would not be permitted. Number five, the strict application of the terms of this ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property because without the variance, the ability to fuel trucks on site would be compromised. Number six, the special conditions and circumstances do not result from any action or inaction by the applicant because currently there are two non-conforming underground tanks. The request to replace them both with one above-ground tank that is more environmentally friendly will bring the site closer into compliance with current development standards. And number seven, the property does not lie within a designated flood hazard area. There were 25 letters mailed, none returned in favor and 3 returned not in favor. One with the comment, my house is directly across from the property. It's an eyesore and don't want to have to look out my window at a bunch of fuel tanks, odors of fuel, and the property already has 2 driveway entrances, one off of Old 20 and another off County Road 13. Does it need another? This is from Oak Ridge Estates. The Oak Ridge Estates has 205 families that reside here. And the other is from the immediate neighbor to the east of this location. I am not in favor of this request due to possible environmental issues. If the above ground tank explodes or leaks and seeps into the groundwater system, it could ruin my groundwater. This would force me to hook up to city water sewer and then be forced to be zoned as a city property, not county property. I&M did not have the courtesy to write or send a rep to my office. as the direct neighbor to the east of the I&M location to explain what they're doing. It may not be a legal requirement, but it would have been common courtesy. If the system is destroyed and I had to hook up to water and sewer, who would pay? Prior estimates provided to my office exceed $25,000, and that was 15 years ago. In my opinion, I&M represents the building as a customer service location. Very quickly, the customer service was closed, leaving Elkhart with no local service. With additional volatile materials additional volatile materials be stored? Does I&M have sufficient security in place to protect these volatile materials against theft, whether vandalism or terrorism? In the last 10 years, we had a situation where unknown parties drove over my backyard to enter my northwest corner to the parking lot of I&M. They broke into I&M trucks during this process. They drove over my septic system, causing damage. Will this tank be just another attractive nuisance that could cause me grief?
So we've heard that this is safer. Is it the staff's opinion that above town tank is better for the environment and could be safer as well?
I'm not an environmental scientist, but to me, having a tank above ground where you can see and monitor, to me, would be much safer in theory than a tank underground that you cannot see or monitor with the naked eye. And I do believe that there are IDEM permits required for the removal of the old tanks and the other level of inspection and supervision beyond this body and the city. I think it's understood. I mean,
Given, I think. This time I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve, this is going to be hard, 25 BZA02 and adopt the petitioner's documents and presentation together with the staff's finding of fact as the board's finding of fact in the present petition.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. At this time, I'll call for the roll call vote.
Alfonso Rickoff,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mulvaney.
Yes, it's approved. Next item of business is
Jason Ugetti, Planning and Zoning for the City of Elkhart. 25 BZA04 is a developmental variance. Petitioner is Pura Vida Chicas Holding LLC. Site location is 2831 Jamie Street. The request is to vary from section 26.4A6 fence requirements that states no fence other than split rail, wrought iron, or open picket not to exceed 4 feet in height shall be permitted in any front yard or corner side yard to allow for a chain link fence that is 6 feet in height, a variance of 2 feet. To also vary from section 26.4A1 fence requirements, which states no fence or wall shall be constructed or contain barbed wire, broken glass, spikes, or sharp, dangerous objects, nor be electrically charged, except in manufacturing districts where barbed wire may be used at the top portion of a permitted fence or wall if located more than 7 feet above the adjacent ground level. Such permitted barbed wire shall be considered part of the fence and subject to the fence height restrictions to allow for a barbed wire to be incorporated with the 6-foot chain link fence.
petitioner can come forward.
Good evening. I'm Jill James Laudeman. I am a partner of Pura Vida Chicas. We are a fast-growing company, and we're actually expanding, so it's a wonderful move for us. We are really wanting the fence. When we purchased the property, we noticed it was the only building in the complete industrial park that did not have a 6-foot fence with barbed wire around it. And for us, it's a safety thing, and if you would drive by the building, you would see that we are all about the aesthetics, so we definitely don't want to take away from the money that we are putting in the building with the addition. And we do have a letter from Mr. Crabtree here. I don't know if you guys have a copy of this.
No, I don't
Can
believe
I
so.
approach? About a month and a half ago, when we talked about applying for the variance, we asked Mr. Crabtree to come out and visit our facility. So he was able to drive the industrial park and see what it's like. One of the other things with ours is we are adding landscape to the front, which none of the other facilities have. So the landscape eventually, probably within the next 3 to 5 years, would cover a lot of that fencing. You wouldn't see
So
it.
it's going to go between the fence and the street.
Correct, correct. So it'll be, we'll come in off the street and there'll be a drive, and then there's about 20 feet, 25 feet? 20 or 25 feet of green space, which will have trees and landscaping done there. So that'll all go in the spring.
What's the primary purpose for the fence?
We have a dock in back, but also we have a lot of windows up front. And for me, being there, I don't want to say I'm a girl, but for safety reasons at night, the industrial park is kind of just a little dead end, and it doesn't have a lot of traffic after hours. We actually noticed that when we had our facility and we had, it was open, it was a lot of traffic because we had 2.5 acres there, and it was a lot of semi-parking, and it left holes like this in the property of just the semis coming in at night just for a place to park because there's nowhere else to go because you can't get into anybody else's facility.
Has there been any break-ins, attempted break-ins? Have you had to call the police?
No, we've only owned it since January,
Okay,
so,
since this January?
yeah, well, a year ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a year ago, and it was just a 6,000 square foot, rough-looking building.
Good
So,
for you.
Yeah, we're really proud. And we want to keep it that way, you know? I just know that there's a lot of people that can go and do damage, and it only takes a second. I mean, I only live 3 miles from there, and I know I could probably get there before anybody else if an alarm goes off, but it's still.
Eric, can you say that again into the mic? Can you say that again into the mic? It didn't pick it up.
You talk up louder.
Oh. What is the purpose of the barbed wire?
Just to keep people from crawling over the top of it. For the safety reasons. I mean, we have a dock in back too, and anybody could, jump that and hurt themselves.
Staff is recommending approval of the 6-foot fence, but not the barbed wire. Could you live without the barbed wire to start with? And if there are issues, you could come back with an additional request?
Issues are expensive. Very expensive, and this is, I could, do I want to? No. I'd rather have it done and be done with it and not have to worry about it.
The cost would, the expense would be adding the barbed wire after the fact, after the.
Correct, after damage was already done. And, I'm not one of those, we're not one of those people that really want to go and take a $10,000 or $20,000 claim and turn it into our insurance and pay more money because everything's already so expensive as it is. I just want to feel safe when I go to my building. If I go to my building at 7 or 8 o'clock at night to work, I want to feel safe. I want to feel comfortable. And I don't know that I'd feel that right now.
And there are a number of businesses close to you that do have the barbed wire.
Every single one of them.
Is it every single one?
It is every single one. Yeah, and Chad drove through and he saw that, and that's why he was like, I kind of agree, you would be the only one without it. I mean, across the street is Thor from us, and they have probably a 7-foot tall fence with barbed wire on top. And if you go around the corner, they've even got a taller fence than that with barbed wire, which I was shocked that they even made it that tall. So we're trying to make it look nicer, you know, so we don't want to hurt the aesthetics. And right now, I mean, people drive by and they're like, so I think we're accomplishing that.
Good, good.
Any other questions for the petitioner?
Nope.
Okay. I'll make sure that goes into the record. At this time, I'll open the public meeting. Is there anyone here in person or on WebEx who wishes to speak in favor of the petition? Anyone here in person or on WebEx who wishes to speak in opposition to the petition? Hearing no comments, seeing no comments, I'll close the public meeting and call staff forward for the staff report.
The petitioners are requesting to vary from the requirements for fences located in the front yard. They desire to place a 6-foot fence with barbed wire top across the front 2.5-acre lot on Jamie and south approximately 60 feet, connecting to an existing 6-foot barbed wire fence. The area where the subject site is located is a low-traffic volume older industrial park. The industrial park was developed in Elkhart County and subsequently annexed in the city in 1997. Most of the improvements, including the non-conforming fences, were approved when the area was under the county's jurisdiction. Most all of the adjacent lots have similar fences as the one requested in this petition. The fence requested tonight would not be out of character for the specific industrial park. The subject property at 2831 Jamie Street was purchased within the last year and is finalizing a major addition and a series of upgrades for the property. At the time of the purchase, there were 2 buildings on site. The larger of the 2 existing 6,000 square foot building on the east side of the lot is having a nearly 12,000 square foot addition added to the north toward Jamie. The company located at the property is a small startup company that has experienced tremendous growth and looks at this property to accommodate their future needs. Another part of the improvements is the new parking lot. The non-conforming parking lot was brought into conformance with the new asphalt paving and new upgraded stormwater retention. As this property had been vacant for a number of years, trucks had become accustomed to using the property as a turnaround. The new owners are concerned that with their substantial monetary investments into site improvements, having trucks use the now improved parking lot as a turnaround will cause them harm, and an inconvenience is in unplanned repairs by trucks using the area that are not delivering to their company. Several significant design constraints do also exist for the site. First, there is a 30-foot platted easement for drainage and utilities that run most of the length of the western property line. The easement prohibits any paving or building within the easement area. The easement also limits the orientation of the new parking lot area, pushing it farther north so as to accommodate the functionality of the parking lot, of the parking and necessary on-site truck movements for their deliveries. Another major constraint is the area reserved for the on-site retention pond located along the southern part of the property. With the major building addition and area for parking lot paving, the stormwater retention area is sized accordingly, and no paving or building is permitted in that area either, therefore limiting the use and prohibiting paving. These developmental limitations are the hardship of the site, limiting the area remaining for a conforming fence placement that is greatly diminished. There is currently a chain link fence running the length of the western property line and a fence along the eastern property line. The desire of the petitioners to connect the side fences across the front property with a 6-foot chain link fence with barbed wire. Because of the limitations with the utility easement and retention areas, along with the configuration of the new parking area, to locate the proposed fence in a conforming location is not possible without significantly altering the redevelopment plans for the site. Staff understands the limitations of the site with the existing easement and retention. However, the security and safety needs can be accomplished without barbed wire atop the fence. Staff recommends approval of the requested variance of the 6-foot chain link fence without the barbed wire. Recommendation. The staff recommends approval of the developmental variance to vary from section 26 fence requirements to allow for a 6-foot chain link fence with
Without barbed wire.
without barbed wire, based on the following findings of fact. 1, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community. Number 2, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. Because the industrial park was established in the county with different fence standards, and a number of adjoining properties have fences similar to the one being requested with the submittal. Number 3, the granting the variance would be consistent with the intent and purpose of this ordinance because it allows for a measure of relief when uniquely warranted. Number 4, the special conditions and circumstances do exist that are peculiar to the land involved and which are not applicable to other lands or structures in the district because of the existing utility easements, stormwater retention area, and proposed building addition. Locating the fence in a conforming location would compromise the functional area of the property, specifically the parking lot. Number 5, the strict application of the terms of this ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property because the utility easement and retention pond make the parking lot configuration challenging to locate the fence in a permitted location. Number 6, the special conditions and circumstances do not result from any action or inaction by the applicant because the utility easement was platted as part of the development and the stormwater computation requirements are regulated by another body. Number 7, this property does not lie within a floodplain area. 7 letters were mailed, 1 returned in favor with comments, none returned not in favor. Mr. Crabtree, summarizing the letter, he believes this variance is warranted for several reasons. The property at 2831 Jamie Street has specific security needs that would be effectively addressed by the installation of a 6-foot chain link fence with barbed wire. These measures are crucial for ensuring the safety and protection of the property, and the addition of barbed wire will enhance security without compromising the safety of the surrounding area. He recognizes that the zoning ordinance is designed to maintain aesthetic and safety standards, but also acknowledges that some properties, especially those in business purposes, may require robust security measures. The requested variance will not have a negative impact on surrounding neighborhood, and the proposed fence will blend into the environment with providing essential security for the property owner, and he urges the board to approve the variance.
Questions for staff?
Sorry, can you say that into the mic because it's not picking it up? Can you speak a little louder into the mic?
Get the mic right up.
Oh, sorry. I was hitting my head with it, and so I put it up.
Sorry, what was the question?
I'm just not sure why we're not letting them have their barbed wire. You know, it's not like they're building this gorgeous fence and then they're putting the barbed wire on top. Fence.
I understand the excuse me. I understand the comment. We have, as a staff, understand the security needs for our businesses, industrial clients, and customers in our community, but we have requirements for storage that allow the barbed wire in rear yards and in the side yards. And we've had these types of requests before, and we have consistently looked to find an alternative so the barbed wire is not across the front. We understand the needs. We understand the industrial park. As a staff in the city, it tends to take on a more correctional look, and we want to try and have a more aesthetically pleasing front-facing public toward the public.
Seems like if every other building has the barbed wire, If I was a bad guy coming in, I'd look around.
And I understand that, I understand that comment, and I understand that thought process. But as we outlined in the staff report, that industrial park was established and developed in the county. And Elkhart County has, some of the developmental requirements are significantly different than what we have in the city. That ordinance is very much geared to take into account their agricultural activities that go on in the county that we don't have in the city of Elkhart.
Check to see if the, sorry, check to see if the petitioner was out the barbed wire.
I had posed that to them before the meeting, and they wanted to still take their opportunity, which they are fully entitled to with the board.
Approve the fence, and then if there is an issue, but it would cost them, put the barbed wire up.
And in order,
Mm-hmm.
and that you kind of you get broken into and ruined. Are they already exists?
As the barbed wire.
Barbed wire around the sides of the property. Wires to connect to that.
Any other questions for staff?
Okay.
Approval of the fence.
I
Blended motion.
let's see how this works. 25 BZA. Move to approve the petitioner's documents in present, together with the staff's in the present. That sounds like it would do it. So adding both the fence and the barbed wire.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, or I guess call for the roll call vote?
Rikoff,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mulvaney.
Yes. Thank you. You get your barbed wire.
What a lovely present for the new year.
Next item of business is 25 UV01.
The petitioner is Alondra Salazar. The request is to vary from section 11.2, permitted uses in the B1 neighborhood business district, to allow for an automotive detailing business.
Good evening. My name is Herlinda, and I'm here representing Alondra Salazar. She is the owner of 1320 Harrison Street. Part of that property is right now vacant. We would like to establish a small family auto detailing business. We consider it environmental friendly. We also plan to manage, she also plans to manage it properly so that it does not cause disruptions to her neighbors and the neighboring properties. So a few things here. Let me just look over here, our notes. So for instance, we plan on using like biodegradable products, also using sustainable water saving methods as well. So we would like to have that, to establish this business as we consider it at very minimal disruption to the neighbors as well. It could also encourage further investment in the community as well. So it's good for the economy, we believe the local economy, and also with it being properly managed, we consider it to have little to no disruption to the adjacent properties. So kind of the gist there. So I'm not sure if you guys have any questions regarding it. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. So.
One of you filled out a form on 12/7, and it states your case.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, you say it is currently unoccupied.
Correct.
I drove by there today, and it's very occupied. Did you make a misstep when you answered that question?
I'd like to defer to
Okay.
Alondra for her to answer that.
Did both of you sign in?
I did not sign
No.
in, no.
Make sure you sign in.
Yeah.
You've identified.
I am Alondra Salazar. I'm the owner. Yes, I do.
The owner of the property?
Yes.
Or the owner of the business?
Both. So there's no business going on right now. I do have a lot of cars there. I also have little side business that I have on my own. So I do take my cars there. I mean, I didn't see a problem with it just because I own the property. There's really no business going on. It's just me with my cars that I take for, I do, yes, I do. That's, I've tried to flip cars with my brothers and stuff, but as of right now, what I want to petition for is turning it into a detailing business, which I would move whatever cars I just have there of my own. It's not.
Cars with no license plates on them. Who owns those cars?
On there? Are you saying on the business?
On the property.
On the property?
There's a picture that we were provided. There's at least one car I can see with no license plate on the rear. 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 vehicles out.
I own those cars. I just haven't been able to get them plated just because I buy them on auctions, and it takes a couple months. Basically, I got to fix them up, turning paperwork to the Indiana, the BMV, and it takes a couple months just to do all that.
When you buy a car at auction, what are you doing with them? Are you fixing them up to resell them then?
Some I do. Most of them I just, here and there, well, what I've been doing is just selling to my family. Like, I get them for them, they pay me, and they just,
The petition calls for an auto detailing business.
yeah, that's what I want to do.
And fixing up and repairing cars for resale is not auto detailing.
That's not what we're gonna do there, though. What I want to do is a detailing shop. You guys just asked about the cars there.
Yeah, so what are you going to do with the cars that are out there right now?
You had cars inside.
They will be moved.
Parked on the street.
Yeah, they will be moved. Like, I just want the detailing shop there, if that makes sense. Those cars are just mine. I just park them. Usually I park them at home, but I've also had an issue with that, so I had to move them over there. I didn't think it was an issue if I moved my cars over there. Just,
If we approve it as an auto detail shop, you would have to do all work inside, nothing outside.
Yeah, we've never done anything outside.
Today you were, they were working on
cars.
2 trucks today. They had the hoods up on both of them.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, just like I said, I didn't find a problem just working on my property. There's nothing running, no business, no money coming in. There's nothing going on. Like, it's just me, my brother's working on my cars. I didn't find a problem with it, if that makes sense. Like I said, I own the property. It's like me going outside my house working on my car. I didn't find a problem with it, but it will, once it becomes, if you guys allow it to become a auto detailing business, then it would, obviously everything would be different, cleared up from cars. Cars would be coming in, obviously, just because we're gonna be cleaning cars.
Have you seen the conditions that the city wants you to, before you okay this?
As in, well, I know they don't want any cars on the grass. They don't want any cars without plates. Yeah,
We gave you,
I would do a, yeah. It would just be in the back area of the building. It's a pretty decent size of a garage. So it would just be that area being used for that.
So it won't be any auto repair, just be strictly detailing?
There shouldn't be, no. And if you guys would wanna go check it out or whatever you guys need to do, then.
You need to speak closer to the mic, we can't.
Oh, yeah, as of right now, all that is planned to do is washing, waxing, interior cleaning, and detailing of vehicles. Nothing besides that.
All the outside vehicles.
Correct. Correct.
If,
Parking, no, but no working on vehicles.
oh, okay. Because that was my question too, like, if I was not allowed to park there?
park there, but you
Yeah,
One of the conditions would be to provide and establish off-street parking and a paved drive to the overhead door. Park vehicles outside, but you
Yeah.
just can't.
okay. So as of right now, you would say I can't work on the vehicles? Even if they're mine, like I said, I do go there and I do take my cars and I have my brothers working on them. So, like I said, there's no business going on, but they do work on them right there. So is that a problem?
Yes, it would be.
Okay.
All the detailing would have.
Okay.
And right now, you should probably pull those vehicles that you can pull them inside that garage.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Call a public meeting. Anyone here to speak in favor of the petition, either on
Yep.
We live across the street from this place that's supposed to be being detailing place. There are 6 and 7 cars there.
This is you're not speaking in favor, I take it?
No.
Okay, hang on, okay, so, no other comments in favor, no comments? Now, any comments in opposition? So now, identify yourself, please.
Yes, my name is Cheryl Bartley.
I'm Craig Bartley.
Sign in.
Both signed in. We live right across the street from this business. At first, this was a business that was an event center. I don't know who ran it or anything then. They fixed the building up and everything this past, August, September, somewhere around there. They painted it, they re-roofed it, and everything else. The next thing we know, they got guys over there working on cars. We've got pictures, but we got them on our phones. And I lost the pictures that we took at first. But at one time, I'd say about a month ago, they were having a party in the front, an event. I have no idea what. Cars were parked all down the street, in the grass in the front, this building, and they were working on cars in the one part where the garage door is, and they were having a party in the other side. So I don't know if it's an event center. I don't know if it's a car detailing, which it's not, because there's been vehicles pushed in there, and they've worked on them, and you can hear the guys working on them and stuff when it was warmer outside. And tonight, like you said, they were working on cars. They pulled all of them out last 3 days. They pulled all of them out. And then all of a sudden they show up with this, what is it, car carrier? Tower or whatever you want to call it.
Behind your truck.
With a disabled vehicle on it. They took it off. This gentleman took his tools and everything in there to work on cars. And they had to push it into the garage. All 4 guys that were there. And so it's not a detailing place. I see no detailing whatsoever. No. Nope.
I'm sorry. Okay, so the petitioner's not asking for a business to work on cars. They're asking for, in the future, they want to open a detail shop. So that would be in the future. Right now, what I think that they're saying is that this is my personal car, my brother's working on it, and if this was a home, I could do that. Can I do that now? And basically what we're saying is, no, you can't do it outside. You have to pull all of that
Right.
in.
In my opinion is they've been working on cars since October that I know of, that I documented. And tonight, he was the one that took pictures of them pushing the car into the garage or whatever you want to call it. And I mean, it's just an ongoing thing. Is it an event center? Is it a detailing place? What is it? And there is lots of banging and crap going on in there. And there's parts sitting outside the door that he thinks was a radiator,
and fan.
some other stuff. Okay,
and some front
where
end.
is all this fluid going? Antifreeze, oil, all that stuff, because you have to have the proper things to drain the oil and the antifreeze and places to put it.
Dispose of it.
That's
The only
one of
reason
the,
I know that is because my brother is a customer service rep for Hart City Toyota, and he's been in that business for almost 30 years. And he goes, where are they putting this oil at? Where are they putting this other stuff? Is it going into the groundwater? What is it doing?
That's one of the conditions for them to open a detailing, is that we discover where that is, if there's a drain in the building where everything will go down. So that
But
is one of
where
the
is it
things that
going?
will happen.
Where is it going right now? I mean, that's a neighborhood, you know, a lot of apartments around there. I think we're the only ones, and another couple that have been there for over 30 years. And I'm going, okay, you know, nobody can make up their mind what they want to do here, vet center or detailing cars or whatever. I just don't approve of it, period. Thank you.
Other comments in opposition?
The petitioner is requesting a use variance to allow the property to be used as an automotive detailing business. This request comes to us based on a complaint and an investigation by zoning staff that observed a new use at the location after seeing activity and cars parked around the building. There was also some new signage displayed that led staff to believe there was a new use on the property. It is the understanding of staff that the petitioner has leased the building to a tenant for an auto detail business. The property is located in a B1 district. The district's purpose is designed to accommodate service and business establishments with less than 7,500 square feet of floor area and is intended to serve the daily business convenience needs of the surrounding residential neighborhoods. Some examples of B1 uses are bakery shops, barber shops, dry cleaner, florist, medical office, professional office, restaurant or cafe, and funeral homes. The development conditions for the district restrict business activity wholly to the inside of the building, shall not offer goods or services to customers directly in motor vehicles. Businesses shall be of retail or service character, selling to or performing services directly for the ultimate customer, and no business shall create nuisance from noise, smoke, or odor. The requested auto detail use is a B2 use, therefore the need for the use variance. Based on assessor's records, the building was built around 1920 and is approximately 3,500 square feet over 2 floors. With about 2,300 square foot on the first floor, a small basement is also shown on the record card. There are 2 overhead doors on the east side of the building that would allow cars to be parked inside while being detailed. Staff struggles with this request. We don't want to presuppose a violation, but we have already observed work being performed on cars outside of the building, which is a violation of the district development standards. The statement the petitioner makes that this request will further diversify the mix of businesses in the area and attract other investment is a valid point if and when the business meets the development requirements for the area. The standards require that all work to be wholly inside the building and performed in compliance with other developmental standards for the district. The other main concern staff has with this request is the noise and impact to the residential uses that surround this property. The noise from the act of washing and detailing a car by itself is minimal, especially when performed inside a building. The problem comes from the other tools for more intensive automotive uses, impact wrenches, hammers, etc., when working on cars. Up to this point, staff has not been able to substantiate the actual level of work being performed on cars, as staff has observed on several occasions cars parked outside without plates, with hoods up seemingly being worked on by employees, which is a violation of the development standards for the district. Additionally, staff has spoken with Public Works and Utilities Pretreatment Division about concerns surrounding the automotive use and chemicals associated with and related to that use. The primary concern from Public Works is that there not be any floor drains that would allow the chemicals to be introduced into the sanitary sewer system. They are requesting an inspection to confirm there is no floor drain in the building. And before I read the recommendation, I want to clarify something for the board, especially with your interaction with the petitioner. The fact that they are working on cars and with the idea that their parallel thought process that is if they own the property, much like their home, they could work on them. That is not the case. This is a commercial structure that has specific development standards and specific uses associated with that district. They may not work on cars inside or outside. And furthermore, the statements from the people speaking in opposition about the event center, that is not an allowed or permitted use either. That would have required board action. So I wanted to clarify that for the board before I read my recommendation.
That's good clarification. Thank you.
The staff recommends denial of the use variance based on the following findings of fact. Number one, the approval will be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community because the proposed use is inconsistent with the purpose of the district and is more intense than the permitted B1 uses. Number two, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property will be affected in a substantially adverse manner because the proposed use is not in keeping with the purpose of the B1 district, intended to serve the daily convenience needs of the surrounding residential neighborhood. Number three, the need for the variance arises from some condition peculiar to the property involved because the petitioner has already leased the property to a tenant for the use requested. Number four, the strict application of the terms of this ordinance will not constitute an unnecessary hardship if applied to the property for which the variance is sought because any of the permitted uses could be established on this site. And number five, the request does not comply with the comprehensive plan which calls for the area to be developed with medium density residential uses. Conditions. If the board chooses to approve the requested use variance, the staff recommends that the following conditions be placed on the approval. Number one, petitioners allow public works, pretreatment staff, and building inspectors to inspect the building to confirm as to whether or not floor drains exist within the building. Inspections shall also determine if the structure is compliant with current building codes. Number two, a plan shall be submitted to technical review to establish off-street parking and a paved drive to the overhead door. And number three, any signage proposed for the business shall be submitted to zoning staff for review. Petitioners shall be required to obtain any proper permits prior to installation. And I would add additionally that if the board upholds the staff's recommendation of denial, that the board imposes some deadline for compliance with the actual use of the property, because right now the uses that are apparently going on there are not permitted to occur. There were 53 letters sent, 3 returned in favor, and 1 returned not in favor. They are not running a detailing business, but a car repair shop that is pouring out onto the street. And I don't know if I have any other. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me clarify this. There were 3 returned in favor and 1 returned not in favor. No comments. The comment came from a telephone call, so I apologize. There was 1 additional not in favor.
Questions? In a motion?
Move to approve 25 UV 01 and adopt the petitioner's documents and presentation together with the staff's finding of fact, as the board's finding of fact, and adopt all conditions listed in the staff's report.
Is there a second?
Second.
Vote?
Vondra Rickoff,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mulvaney.
You can operate your detail shop, but nothing else. You'll have to comply with all other regulations. The cars will have to be removed. Everything will have to be inside. No repairs, detail only. And if we find out, or the city finds out, that you're doing other work on the property, mechanical repairs or anything, you're going to be found in code violation. And also, no events, there's not an event center, no parties, no gatherings, nothing. It's a commercial business, detail shop only. And you've got neighbors who will be watching, and I'm sure they'll make sure that if you're not following what we have approved, that they will alert the city, and the city will take action on it. So, okay?
Now, they also, city will come out and inspect
Yeah.
to see if they have proper
You
drainage.
have to do an inspection, make sure there's no floor drains. You'll have to make arrangements for any fluids to be taken off site rather than dumped down a floor drain, so. Okay. Any other business? Motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.